Hey everybody, it's the Knitting Professor. Happy Pride Month, y'all. Today, I want to talk about hard times and the blessing of having a big yarn stash. Now, in the past, there's been a lot of emphasis on destashing and, people going crazy. It could have been something that was sort of conditioned by the pandemic. I don't know. Might have been a lot of stocking up going on. I watch a lot of hoarders myself, so, I'm cognizant of the issues with collecting too much. I mean, especially being retired, it's not like I have a huge ton of money going out. I don't have to pay childcare anymore. I don't have to pay truck payments anymore. Stuff like that. So theoretically, I could really hoard. So not what we're about. But in these times of, dare I say, want, need, look at gas prices, inflation, interest rates climbing, low wages, utility bills climbing, your monthly subscriptions for stuff are going up, groceries are going up. It's tough for a lot of us. And I noticed that just when my son and I go and get groceries, you have half a cart full of stuff and it's $400 is like, whoa. So I'm really glad that I have a stash of yarn that's, you could argue it's a little over the top. I'm not going to show it all to you. But I am going to cover the reasons why I'm glad I have it in these hard times. So I've picked out 7 examples, and I would be really interested in hearing your examples of why, in these hard times, you're glad you have a stash of yarn that you can enjoy. So let's look at example number 1. I don't have to buy a movie ticket because I have my yarn stash. I can, for example, instead of going to a movie, I could take this beautiful hand-dyed skein of yarn, which I've probably put on here more than a time or two because I'm so drawn to it. I think I might combine it with some mohair and I could make a hat. And I would probably spend enough time making a hat for 4 trips to the movie theater. This is a hand-dyed from... Well, the brand is Chelsea Luxe, Red Bank, New Jersey. And some of these yarns, they're in my stash. I can't remember anymore where we got it. I think I got it in Canada. Maybe in Canada. But it's now from my stash. And instead of paying out the money to go to a movie, I could use this and have a really fun time knitting a gorgeous hat with that. And then I could wear it. I can't wear the movie when I'm done. Now, I do have, thanks to, let's just put it this way. I have access to movie like Netflix and that kind of thing from different ways. We won't go there. But I can watch movies at home, right? And I can knit at home. But I don't have to worry about buying a ticket to Six Flags because guess what? I can dig in my stash. In fact, I have now, as you know, growing stash of beautiful hand-dyed yarn, and I could puzzle out a way to use these 3 skeins in something beautiful that would be, it might not be quite as titillating as a roller coaster, it might be a little less social than hanging out at Six Flags, but it doesn't cost me anything because guess what? I already made this yarn, and this was gifted to me, this fiber that I made this yarn from. This fiber I bought last fall, so back when inflation wasn't what it was now. This I bought last summer. And I can have a keen time, and I could even have a roller coaster of a time trying to figure out if I wanted to knit a shawl, or integrate this into a sweater, or maybe a couple of hats, or I could knit gifts for people. And I can I can think about how I spun this yarn myself, and how cool it is that I happened upon, especially these 2 skeins right here that just harmonize so beautifully. Could put it in something, and that would be just about as fun as going to Six Flags. Now my kids are grown, so I don't have to worry about taking them to Six Flags. Now what if I need a sweater? I don't have to shell out any money because I have this whole bucket. This is 2/3 full of brown sheep yarn. And I've got quite a lot of colors in here. got yellow and orange. I've got, well, this is a really cool color. Look at that, variegated olive. And I have a white, and I have tons of brown. And again, instead of buying a sweater that wouldn't be nearly as nice as one I could make, I could get out all this yarn that I already have. I have a black and white, they go together. Those three right there are kind of pretty, and this is just the start. I have yellow. I have a whole rainbow of colors just of brown sheep, and a lot of it I got at fiber festivals from a woman who sold seconds for a song, and I could spend weeks working on a sweater that would be way better than any sweater I could buy. I don't need to spend a cent, and I get all that entertainment, and then I can stay warm with my sweater that I make in the winter, lower my thermostat, because those data centers that are sucking up all the electricity that I would like to use, right, for my house, they got to suck it up to keep their computers wet or whatever, and steal my data with, today even I was writing, and I just wanted to highlight something to italicize it. And I get a prompt that says, edit with Copilot. I'm like, no way. Get out of my computer. I'm tempted to move to Scrivener now, just so I don't have to deal with Microsoft's ramming this AI stuff down my throat, where I heard they have 500 data centers in Texas. That's just insane. We have like 2 in South Dakota. I feel so blessed. I don't know, there might be 5, but they're mostly in Sioux Falls, so I don't have to worry about it. But in any case, that sweater that I knit for free, yeah, that's going to be a help when my electricity bill continues to climb. Now, Christmas in July is only a month away, right? And that means that Christmas is only half a year away. So it's probably not too early to start thinking about Christmas presents, especially because I don't know. My son was talking to me earlier. He's like, according to Secular Talk, whatever, he's like, gas prices are going to just zoom up in 2 weeks. I don't know. I've heard these rumors. I don't know. I mainly listen to MS Now because, I don't know, CBS is going down the tubes. I mean, it's just crazy. Either that or I'll just listen to European news, right? In any case, I don't think prices are going to go down soon, and they might not go down before Christmas. I don't know. I don't want to scare you guys. You may know more. If you're like a financial wizard, tell me I'm wrong. That would be great. However, if I need Christmas presents, I can go to my stash, because I can take my red yarn and my white yarn. That's a gray. No, that's a green. This is even fun just going through this. I could knit someone a Christmas stocking. I could knit someone a Christmas cowl. I could knit someone Christmas mittens. I could knit someone a Christmas scarf. I have yarn already queued up, ready to go. I could make crazy amounts of Christmas presents. I could take this really fun mohair so soft, and I could knit my daughter a hat, a scarf. She would probably love to get that. I could also knit socks. I could knit something rainbowy. I have plenty of friends who would like that. A rainbow towel. And that leads me to my next point. Linens. We all need linens. Linens is something that you can kind of go through, especially because they don't make them anymore in LaGrange, Georgia. It's so sad. We used to go, my mom and I, my whole family, but my mom was the big one. We lived in Auburn, Alabama. We would go to Pepperell Mill, and we even could go to the Russell Mill outlet shop, because that used to be based in Alabama. Now they're all way across the world. And could get towels. I have towels to this day that I bought 30 years ago that were made in the United States. Well, now it's really hard to find quality linens because they're not made on quality mills with quality standards. They're made in countries with even a lower standard of living than ours. and they're made according to standards that are, shall we say, not great. It's a caveat. I have had good luck finding linens from Portugal. They're not the cheapest, but they may save you money in the end because they'll last a long time. However, I can make my own linens because in my stash, I have a bunch of beautiful cotton yarn that I've accumulated over the years. I could take these 3 yarns and I could probably knit a bath towel. I have seen patterns for that. I could knit a bath towel with these 3 yarns. I could knit a face towel. I could knit washcloths. If I took this whole bucket of yarn, I could probably knit a blanket. A beautiful, sturdy cotton blanket, which in contrast to ones that I have been using lately, would probably hold together and last for the same amount of time as those towels that we used to buy at Pepperell Mill outlet store back around 1990. Now, I have pets, and I know a lot of you guys too, and I love integrating those into my novels. In fact, I'm just about done with book 4. I'm now moving into the final beta editing formatting stage, and I want to get it out in Pride Month because it's very Pride themed. All my novels are, but this one is very specifically because it's about a young man who is struggling to come out to his family. In any case, in that novel, there's a cat that plays a big role. If you guys have read book 3, maybe you remember Ashley. You remember Ashley? So Ashley plays a big role in book 4. And also, do you remember Ulven, the collie? Ulven plays a big role too, as well as, of course, Freya, the Airedale. So in any case, for pets, I could take something like this. I could knit cat toys. You know, I could knit like cat knit mouse. I don't know about dog toys, man. Our dogs, boy, I mean, I can't tell you how many tennis balls I've bought lately. And it's just like putting them in a grinder. He just lasts like a day. My son talks about clamshells. Oh, or you just turn that ball into a clamshell. It's like, yeah, right. It takes no time whatsoever. But for the cats, right? Catnip mouse, if you knit it tightly enough, you can fill it with catnip. That would be a really cool way to have fun knitting something for my cat. Or I could knit a cat bed. I could probably even knit a dog bed. For my little Shih Tzu, for example, she would enjoy a dog bed out of, let's see here. What have I got? I've got some fun yarn. This green, for example, this is a wonderful sturdy wool. I have plenty of this kind of thing. I've got some in DK. I've got some in worsted weight. And I also, you know, depending on how I lined this bed, my washer is such that I can wash wool. I don't even have to wash it by hand. Look, I can combine it with this one. In fact, this one has a label. I can tell you what this wool is. I remember buying it in Billings, Montana at the yarn bar back in their old store. It's called Scout, and it's from Kelborn. 100% wool. That would make a great cat bed or a dog bed. It's just really sturdy wool. I use the same brand of wool in the horse hat that I recently made with the horsies on it. So yeah, something for the dog, something for the cat to make sure that their needs are met for fun and relaxation. My final example is I can save a lot of money on a therapist. Now, you know, in times like this, a therapist is kind of a tempting option. It's probably something that a lot of us could use. But instead of that, I could take this gorgeous white mohair and I could combine it with, well, this gray. Ooh, that would be floofalicious. This has half llama in here. This is Camarose. I believe it's Danish. And it's 50% llama and 50% wool. Undyed. Oh my gosh. Wouldn't that make a wonderful hat? This would be so therapeutic to knit this together. They're so soft. And the colors are calming. and peaceful, and I could do a pattern that would have pleasant repetitions to it. Maybe do some yarn overs, a little bit of lacy texture, a little bit of ribbing, whatever I want, right? So that would be a replacement for therapy. So those are my examples for today of how having a big stash in hard times is a huge blessing. And yeah, my collection of hand dyed is, the cup runneth over, but I also have a great collection of woolly wools and colorful wools. And the more I dig into these buckets, the more fun I'm having. So I think I might just play with my stash a little bit more. Ooh, I could combine these. Would this work? I don't know, maybe. But it's fun to think about. So I hope that you have the kind of stash that you need to have. Not too big, but not too small. That will help you to get through these hard times. Enjoy yourself. Make something nice. Make a nice gift. And just relax. Y'all take care. We'll talk soon. Ciao.